What's going on, folks? CastleCrag back today with another weapon overview for Monster Hunter Wilds. Today, right now, we're going over the Insect Glaive. Insect Glaive is a weapon of mine that a weapon I've had some experience with. I like it a lot, especially its Sunbreak incarnation. I thought it was really cool. Don't know how powerful it was compared to other weapons. Honestly, I don't care. It's not always about how powerful the weapon is. It's fun to play, and I love the style of it, at least in Rise Sunbreak. It's fun and kind of fun in World, but I think it didn't have as much of an identity in World. It was just a worse dual blades almost, with some ability to mount better, but only in some cases, because there were a lot of areas where you could jump off of ledges and slide down and do your little Beyblade down the back of a monster with the dual blades that invalidated anything the Insect Glaive did in the air, to the point where it became mostly best as a ground weapon with buffs. The buffs do make a change to the weapon, at least the insect buff specifically. But in World Iceborne, the Kinsect itself wasn't utilized enough, and they started correcting that, I think, pretty well in Sunbreak. Started using it for your attacks. There were certain Kinsects that would, when you hit finishing moves, would hop out and add extra little ticks of damage. It's not a whole lot, but it's stylistically a lot of fun. And they had the, like, what is it? The powder charge, the one that, the powder collection one that would, you know, it would leave the powder Kinsect. It would leave a bunch of powder marks, like powder clouds hanging around the monster and the arena. And then you'd input, I think it was like down BA or something like that, or down X circle stuff, something like that, right? And it would have the Kinsect collect all of those powders onto the monster, and then they'd explode for a massive tick of damage. It was really cool. Alternatively, you had the Yeetus McGee Insect attack, where you like throw them on the end of your staff and go just yeet him at the thing, which was really cool. I loved that attack, stylistically at least, even if it wasn't particularly powerful. And then you had the Kinsects that, like, I already mentioned, the ones that come out and attack with some of your finishers. So it felt a lot better to me in Rise Sunbreak, and I already liked it kind of okay in World Iceborne. Let's see how we got, what we got here. And full disclosure, I have watched this already. To make sure we transform over here, but I have watched this one already, but that's okay. It's been a while. So we're going to do a full watch through right here with pretty much no comments. I'll comment right now since I have it paused right here. That's a pretty nice looking Cheetacabra set. Basic set, but you know, it's probably one of the early monsters, so it makes sense. Anyways, walkthrough with pretty much no commentary, and then we'll do another kind of walkthrough of the video, but with pausing, rewinding, all that kind of stuff, and analysis, just so the people that haven't watched it before get a watch through, and then my analysis afterwards. Before we get started, I want to ask that you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Comment on the video, but only after having watched everything, because if you comment too early and then I answer your comment later on in the video because you commented before you reach the end, well, then that's your fault, not mine. Let's go ahead and get started now, though, okay? So, I actually think this looks fantastic. Got a nice stylistic aerial attack, good cinematic on that. It's not a cinematic, it's actual gameplay, it looks like, but it's a good intro to the weapon. Just decent looking weapon, okay looking set, all that kind of stuff. So obviously we know you use the Insect. One of the cool things they show right here, when you're targeting, trying to send your Insect out to collect buffs, it appears that it will tell you what extract you get from that monster part. Because for those of you that don't know with the Insect, the Insect Glaive, when you shoot out your Insect as a monster part, it will gather an extract. That's what these little 2 half ovals, quarter ovals are on the back of the bug up here on the top left. It can collect 2 at a time. So when you send it out, it collects extract from monster parts. Different monster parts have different color extracts, and those give you different buffs when the Insect returns to you. Red, the most important one, gives you an attack buff. White, I think, gives you like earplugs or something like that, minor earplugs. And then orange gives you like some slight defensive buffs or something like that. Might be switched on orange and white, I'm not entirely sure. And then all 3 of them together resets the entire buff's duration and empowers the... Hold on a second. Let's sneeze it real quick. Collecting all 3 resets the timer, extends the timer, and enhances the buffs. So you definitely want to collect all 3, but at the bare minimum, you need red. So you always start out the fight pretty much by sending your Insect out with a quick... Usually it's the left trigger and the top face button. For me, it's triangle on a PlayStation controller. It could be Y on an Xbox controller, X on a Nintendo controller, if that's what you use. I actually use a third-party controller anyway, but that's beside the point. Send it out with that. Bring it back and immediately and get the red buff before you start anything. Typically how you handle the weapon. And we see that basically happen right there. That's exactly what happens right there. He sends it out, it hits the monster. I think it does a small tick of damage, maybe. It should. It doesn't show it, but it should do a small tick of damage. We also see one buff. It's got the number 1 and the color red. Probably an accessibility thing. That's why it has the 1 and a color. And then we have this yellow bar right here is actually the bug's stamina. The bug can only stay away from you for a certain amount of time before it has to return. And that's the stamina bar. He calls it back immediately and gets the buff though. There's also a slash that you can use that sends the bug out immediately to start either gathering extract or attacking the monster. Does that in this case. It's usually the right trigger, I think. Or that was something different. No. I'm sorry, I take that back. He's got the bug out here with him. Maybe not. Maybe he throws it, but while doing a slash. That was a cool looking attack. And now he's running around with the staff raised, which is, I don't think, how it normally goes. I believe that's not how you normally run with it. And he's going to do some attacks here, and the Insect's going to join in on the attacks. You see he got all 3 buffs. The tail had the orange, the main body had the white, head had the red. Typically, it's like things on the monster that are focused on attack have the red. That's about all I know. Well, we can see here the Insect is attacking with him, and now it's spinning up there. I think it may have just been doing one of its attacks, and if it was actually down on the monster, it would have done damage to it. There seem to be a lot of misses with the Insect here. We'll go over that later, because it's spinning right there and doing almost nothing. That's one of the Insect Glaive's kind of main things, is it can jump into the air at any time, at will, it says, right? So he jumps in the air, does a dodge towards the monster, and hits what I presume is its main regular attack, the triangle or Y attack, basic attack, whatever, light attack, whatever you want to call it, and stabs down into the monster and latches on, it seems, right there. So I don't know if that's mount or if that's something else. We see this focus mode attack where he does a cool stab into the monster's weak point, jumps back, and then kind of like slingshots the bug at it. It misses. It whiffs here. But it's very reminiscent of the attack I think I mentioned earlier from Sunbreak, where you yeet the bug off the end of your staff towards the monster. It's very reminiscent of that. it seems that they transformed the... So prior to this, the triangle upper face button attack, the normal face button attack, right? The Y triangle button attack would do kind of a spinning slash down. That seems to have been replaced with a jab straight down, which is kind of similar to a wirebug skill in Sunbreak, or it might have even been in Base Rise. I think it was, where there were two variations of it. One, you were on the ground and you would wirebug yourself up and then straight down in a line, and you would jab out the Insect kind of like that. The other being, if you were already in there, you would just jab the Insect straight down like that, and it would do a good amount of damage. That seems to be the case here, is that... We'll talk about this in a second, what's happening there. But he's in the air, and he just jabs straight down. Although he jabs with the blunt end, which is interesting, but I don't know if that matters. Yeah, it's... I kind of like what I see for the Insect Glaive here. It looks very dynamic. Looks like the power fantasy kind of the weapon, with the actual insect being part of the kit, is emphasized here, which is good. That was something that was sorely missing prior to Rise Sunbreak, I think. It was kind of just there as a, hey, throw away, go get this. Cool, bring it back. Go get this, get it back. Okay, go get this back. Okay, and then you just send it out, and it kind of do some ticks of damage here and there. Maybe leave a powder, whatever. Didn't do a whole lot. They upped that in Rise Sunbreak pretty heavily, and it looks like they upped it even more here to where the Insect is actually joining you in attacks pretty consistently. Very much like that. Looks very fluid. Much, again, that seems to be the theme of most of the weapons in this game, is that everything is fluid and just flows into itself. All the combos flow into themselves. So you're not really at a point where you're, okay, well, now we wait. Unless the monster, of course, gets in the way and you have to dodge out of the way, but that's part of the game normally. Really seems to be just a toning down of the jankiness of the game, which I think I appreciate. Not that Insect Glaive was particularly janky in the first place. It was a little bit, I think, with its whole arsenal main point being an aerial weapon. Never really panned out very well. Mounting is typically, I think, a DPS loss. Maybe in groups it's fine. I don't know entirely. But it is typically a DPS loss, because you're up there, you're doing like a single tick of damage, and you don't do a whole lot. And then the monster falls down after a while, and then you start doing damage, where you could have just been doing that damage the whole time. So the Insect Glaive's identity was in a bit of a crisis, I think. They look to maybe have tried to solve that. They definitely didn't seem to focus nearly as much on aerial attacks. So we're definitely going to have to see how this feels when we play the game. Please, Capcom, give us the demo soon. Soon. Just want to play the damn thing. Oh well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below how horrible, terrible I am at analysis or analyzing these, right? But all I got. Share, subscribe, important stuff. And I will catch you in the next one, hopefully tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.